Hey, welcome in. FG here. So you already know what country we're going to be looking at. I haven't found out yet. But first thing, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. I needed to add Mongolia, which was right here in this top corner. So we have our placeholder. We'll get that slipped in there. So there we go. We have counted for Mongolia now. And before I do today's coin, I've had some people ask about how many countries are left, how I'm keeping track, what countries I need. So I thought I'd show you here. Give me just a second and we'll be right back. All right, so here's Numista, and you might recognize my map. I currently have 75 countries in my listing, although I've not showed all 75 countries yet. I had some coins in there from previously. But this is where we're filling in. So you can always, mouse over countries, see which ones I don't have filled in, see which ones are filled in and how. So like as an example, a large part of this area was all from this Russian Empire item, even though I don't have a very specific Russian Federation item. So that's always, like also here, Kazakhstan is covered by this Russian Empire item, but I don't have any specific Kazakhstan item. So I'm still trying to get items that are specific to each country. And how I'm keeping track of that and what this map is generated off of. So if we scroll down here, there's actually this link down here that says show countries. And you can do from which I have items, from which I don't have items, or you can just say view the country list with my collection quantities. So if you look here, for instance, I don't have Afghanistan. I do have Albania. So any one of these items that are underneath of Albania will tick off Albania. I don't have Algeria. I do have Andorra. So how I'm keeping track when I go to shows is I basically get this list from which I don't have any items. Now, this list, I've not added every country into this list that I have an item so far. I have been able to purchase some items that aren't listed here because I haven't revealed them yet. So like Afghanistan is one of those. I have a coin from Afghanistan, but I haven't shown it yet. I haven't added it into my database, so it's still showing here. Algeria, I don't. So Algeria is still showing here. But you can kind of see here, and they go in alphabetical order, 3 columns. So you can still see I still have quite a lot, although a large portion of this center column is this Islamic states. I guess I need to focus and get one of these so that this will disappear off the list. But there are definitely, and these are all countries that are, if we look back here, it's just listed under this countries and territories, and it goes back into the 1800s. It also includes a lot of potential problematic countries. Like one of the big ones is going to be, if we look over here, this country, Oberost. Well, Oberost, if you look it up, and maybe even this one, Japanese occupation of Oceania, Oberost was an area of control by Germany, by one of the German generals during, I believe it was World War II, which is now current countries. So I could get coins from those countries. but I don't think I'll ever be able to get an actual silver coin from Oberos because they never made a silver coin. They're like all zinc, like much of the German occupation currency was. But if we scroll down through here, you'll see that these are all the countries that I still have to tick off of my Numista list. Although, again, I do have some of these, you know, like for instance, there's 20 of them still, well, 20 some left still in this bag. So I do have countries checked off that aren't checked off of this list yet, but this is kind of my starting point. What I'm not going for is any of these like fantasy places that are down here. And then there's micronations. I'm not shooting to do those. There's ancients and early medieval. And you can see how many of these there are. And then there's modern states with limited recognition, you know, like Taiwan, Palestine, Transnistria, you know. So there's a bunch down here, and I wasn't really shooting for those. I'm really trying to essentially be able to click the from which I don't have any items and be down to a list that's just the ones that I'm going to never really be able to get. But yeah, so that's why if we look at from which I have items, you know, some of them, you can see like Djibouti, right? Well, that's where I have item. So this isn't going to show it really. Let's see. View with my collection quantities. Oh, all. That's what we want to click. So if we click all and look at Djibouti, for instance, you can see that there was actually quite a few different territories here. So Obak territory, French Somaliland, Afars and Isis, Djibouti. Then there's a Djibouti Note Guild. So I just needed one from this list to fill out that and tick it off my country. So that is my process. That's what I'm doing. So now, with that out of the way, and if you're interested in what countries I have and don't have, there are a lot on the list, obviously, but you could scroll back through, pause, take a look when it's near there. There's our favorite country of all, Micronesia. But yeah. So these are my lists of countries. So, all right, now back to our regularly scheduled coin look. All right, so like I said, you already know what I'm picking out of here, but we're going to grab a random coin and go with this one. And it looks like we have Chile. So give me a second. I will pull this up and we'll go over it. Okay, we're back. So we're looking at our Chile. It is an 1892, and the person I bought this at that table, her dad has run the coin business. So he had written on here 136.3, and it's an overdate variety of 92 over 82. He did have the silver content, but he hadn't marked a price on this coin. So you can see it's not in super condition like a lot of the ones I'm trying to find. It is pretty worn, but I don't know, for whatever reason, I have just never been able to win a bid on a coin from Chile. So this one's about, well, it's a little bigger than a dime, a little smaller than a quarter. let's put up the Numista page here real quick to start with. We can see it's 2.5 grams, and this variety is 50% silver, so 0.500. The design on the coin's pretty typical of circulating coins for Chile, with the condor with spread wings, and then the wreath with denomination and such on the reverse. Comments for this coin say note 136.1, 2, and 3 each have different silver alloys. So this one was marked as .3, which is the lowest, the 50%. 1 is, and I'm not sure, I'd have to do some more research to see when .1 and .2 were, but .1 is 90%, .2 is 0.835%, and then you have this one that's 50%. But if we scroll down and look at the mintage and the bullion value, you can see it is a little bit less bullion value than like our dime. It's $1.33 in bullion value. The 1892 had just under 1 million minted. So while it's not the highest minted, it's also, it's kind of mid-range. It's not the lowest minted either. So back to this coin, since it didn't have anything marked on it, she basically threw this in for $2. So it was slightly over melt on it, but for a worn coin for Chile, for one that I've kind of had a hard time winning bids on online, I thought that was a great price. So I did add that to my bag at $2. And you can see on the Numista page, a very good is like $1.60. A fine is like at $5. So I think, $2 for this coin was probably a pretty good deal. If we look at some of the ones that are sold that are, XF quality, they go for 10 to 15 bucks or so. This one's definitely not XF. So anyways, I'm pretty happy with the $2. Now let's come back over here just for a second. I want to slide this over. This is why we have a different perspective at the moment than what we started with. We're gonna put the microscope up here. We're going to take a look here, and if you look close, you can see right to the left of the tail, the tail of the 9 comes down and around. If you look right to the left of it, you can see that little line that is right there. That is the 8 that's underneath of the 9. So I do think he's correct in this case. That actually, let's see if we can get it a little bit closer. I don't have the autofocus, so bear with me. There. So now you can really see that there's definitely something going on there behind the 9. So I think that he was right on. If you look at the 8 next to it, you could see how that could potentially be the bottom of an 8 that's over there underneath that 9. So I do think it's an overdate variety. Looking at the Numista mintage list, almost every year in here says that overdate varieties exist. So I don't know that it brings any real premium or anything to the coin. It's just kind of a cool oddity that that it is an over date. So there we go. That's our coin from Chile. And we'll get the book up here. And we'll take a look. I haven't figured out where Chile is ahead of time. So here we have China. So I'm betting if I look in my list here, and this is where I'm always checking, I'm going back to that all list that we saw before here. If I look at China, yeah, Chile is right before China. So we have our coin on the bottom row here. That was from Guangdong, China. And our coin from Chile will go into the page right beside it. So there we go. That coin's in the book. We'll take a look at the map here and just point out where Chile is and fill it in. And that will be our coin for today. Thanks for joining me. A little bit longer just explaining the process of the country list I'm using. So thanks for your subscriptions, your comments, and I will see you tomorrow. I'll be back out in the shop pouring. I think I may try to pour a couple bars and some channel rounds. So this was my, just to go over it again, this was my prototype, first prototype, so P1. I am going to stamp P1 on it. I have a P2 that Urban was interested in, so that may be going to him. And I think I may have it more narrowed down now, so I'm going to try and pour maybe 3 or 4 more of those channel rounds. So those are targeted to be right at 1 ounce. Or a hair over. So I'll be pouring a few more of those today to make sure my process, and maybe I'll show my process including stamping. I was just watching SGT doing some stamping using his press, and his press looks amazingly similar to mine. So maybe I'll show that and show what making those 1 ounce channel rounds looks like. So that's it for today. I'll catch you in the next one.